now going to show you how we start off our weave. So what we do first is take a piece of cardboard, it can be an old cereal box, and what we're going to do is open up the warp threads using the reed and just pass this piece of cardboard through. Now the reason why we put the piece of cardboard in is it just enables us to get a really nice crisp straight line when we start to weave. We then open up the reed in the opposite direction, and then we're going to use our shuttle for this bit. So with the shuttle, I had loaded some weft yarn onto there, but I'm just taking it off so you can see how easy it is to put on. So you take your weft thread that you want to use, hold your thumb on the end and just wrap it around the shuttle to the desired amount that you want. I tend to say don't overload it too much because sometimes you will end up with too much and you don't want it to go to waste. So we've opened up our reed, we're going to pass that shuttle through. I always do it close to the reed because that's the biggest gap, so it is a bit easier to pass through. And we're just going to hold on to that weft end, and then we're going to use the comb and we're going to use that to bring down that weft thread. Keep pushing it down, and what you want to make sure is just you don't lose that end of the weft thread for that first pass, and keep bringing it down. So I tend to do it sort of in little stages across to make sure that the thread comes down nice and evenly, and then give it a nice good squeeze down with the comb just to make sure that it's there right against tight, sort of tight against the cardboard, and that it's nice and even. So once that's pushed firmly into place, what we're going to do is then rotate the reed in the opposite direction again, and then we're going to pass that shuttle through. So again, keeping it right up next to the reed, and that will allow a big gap. And then at this point, what we want to make sure is that we don't pull the weft yarn through too tightly, as we want to keep these edges nice and straight. To help this, what I do is leave the weft yarn with a sort of arc across, and that means then that when you start pushing that thread down, it means it's not going to pull it too tightly on the end. But if you do notice a little loop, what you can do is pull that thread back up again and then gradually work along, bringing it back down, and then that will make sure that you've got that edge nice and tight. So give that weft yarn a really good squeeze down against that cardboard so you've got a really nice tight line for your weave. Next, we're going to rotate that reed again once we've got our threads in the correct position. So we're just pulling that end back through again to make sure that's out of the way. We're going to rotate that reed, and then again we're going to pass our shuttle through the gap. So again, once we've passed that weft yarn through, we're going to bring it down, but we're going to leave again that nice arc across to make sure that we're not pulling it in too tightly on that edge. And starting from that side, we're going to push that weft yarn down into place, making sure again it's nice and firm across here. The edges to me are really important. There's nothing worse than working really hard on a piece of weave and then you find that gradually it's going into sort of a bit of a V weave where it's just pulling in too tightly on the edge. So try really hard to give the time to make sure that it is nice and straight, and then you'll be much happier with the result at the end. So again, we've rotated that reed, we're pushing the shuttle through. However, you can see here, pushed it through, but we didn't quite have enough weft yarn off of the shuttle, so it's going to make it too tight, so we've just pulled it backwards. And again, we're going to pull it through, concentrating on that edge, leaving that nice arc across, and then gradually pushing it down with that comb to make sure we've got it nice and even as we go across. That's it, you have started to weave. So you can carry on doing this process, or you can try one of our other techniques.